Well, that's some epic game matches here on day 3 of the US Open 9-ball championship at Mandalay Bay. These are results on table 1. Tyler Steyer beat Justin Bergman 11-5. That was in a loser's match. Alvin Ushan 11-7 against Darren Appleton. Same thing again. James Arenas, look at that one. 11-10. That was incredible against Torsten Homan. And we've just seen Jason Shaw with probably his toughest match yet. 11-8 win against Petri Makkonen. So Jason Shaw is through to the last 16 tomorrow here at Mandalay Bay. And Jason's here now. Jason, I said that was probably your toughest match so far. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. You know, every match is not going to be 11-1, 11-0. It's going to get tougher, you know. Petri's a tough opponent. He's beat me actually the last couple of times we played. So going into the match, I know it was going to be tough. It wasn't going to be easy. I made a couple of mistakes early doors, but you know, I battled hard towards the end and managed to keep myself calm and finish the job off.
We thought you might have won it a few minutes before that, but you led him back to the table. Were you at all worried at that stage?
Yeah, because obviously I'm 10-6 up and I'm supposed to kill the game off and I don't. And all of a sudden it's 10-7 and he's breaking and then he breaks and runs out. And now it's 10-8 and I'm thinking I might not get another shot. You know, that's the way the game is. It's breaking. Winner breaks is, you know, if you make a couple of mistakes, you might lose 5 or 6 games. So,
if you'd lost that one, you still would have had another chance. But does that play on your mind, the fact that if you can win, you can fully prepare for tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. I've been to the US Open a lot of times when it used to be the old US Open, and I played a couple of matches late at night to get to the Final Four. And I ended up before the Final Four I ended up losing, and I had to play directly after it, and I ended up losing the match after because it's playing on your mind. You've just lost, and you know, so it's good to get that win and move on till tomorrow, and now I can just go away, relax and prepare for tomorrow.
Yeah, so what is the preparation now, but between now and tomorrow morning? What are you going to do to kind of be absolutely ready?
Well, I'm going to leave here, I'm going to go eat, I'm going to go get a haircut and a shave. And then
TV cameras everywhere. Yeah, good idea.
Well, the very first day I came here, I woke up in the morning and I went and got a haircut and a shave, and I won 11-0 on the TV table. So maybe I'll do the same again tomorrow.
Are you a superstitious player?
Well, it's not that. I just like to look kind of. I feel like if my hair's a little bit too long, I'm like, oh God, you know. So I think it's a guy thing.
We're all the same. Well, well done, Jason. You are through to the last 16. We look forward to seeing you in action tomorrow. But who else is going to be in the last 16? Either Dennis Hatch or Shane Van Boening will definitely be there. The loser of this one will have a second chance as well. So let's get to their match now. Carl Boyes and Ted Lerner are going to talk you through it.
Well done. Jason Shaw books his place in the final 16.
He will join Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Very good young Spanish player. Jeffrey De Luna from the Philippines, and Alex Pagulayan, Filipino from Canada. Those 4 are already qualified for the final 16 knockout stage. The winner of this match between Shane Van Boening, one of the favorites here this week, and Dennis Hatch. The winner of this match will also qualify for the round of 16. The loser will get another chance. So, Carl, obviously Shane the favorite in this match, but Dennis Hatch seems to be playing loose, free, maybe freewheeling it, doesn't have a care in the world. So that's how you got to approach playing Shane, maybe.
Yeah, start of the match is crucial for Dennis, you feel, but he likes to get free flowing and get that Q arm going, so you just feel if he can do that in this winner break format, there is a chance of a upset.
Also, Shukai Lun from Taiwan is through to the final 16. So this is a winner side match, and still got some good matchups coming up in a little while, around 6 o'clock local time. Joshua Filler still on the winning side, will take on Petri Makkonen. Aloysius Yap to take on Ko Pin Yi. Marco Teucher, who's having a good run today, will take on Lu Hai Tao. Tyler Styrer, also having a good run. He'll be battling Ko Ping Chung, and Mietsko Fortunski, who's on a roll today, will do battle with Wu Jiaquing. And those matches that I just mentioned right there, the winner will qualify and the loser is out. But this one here, a winner side match. The winner goes through, the loser gets another chance. Now, how about that Albin Ocean Joshua Filler match at the end there? Bit controversial, don't you think?
Yeah, we was watching from the skies, wasn't we, Ted? And it was 10-9 Filler. Albin Ocean stretching over, miscues and just whacks the balls around the table and shakes Joshua's hand.
He miscued on the 3. There was 5 balls left on the table, and he was so frustrated that he just conceded the match right there. Didn't even have Joshua pot 5 more balls for the win.
Dennis, all yours, mate.
So Dennis wins the lag. Both players wearing US Open 9-ball championship matching shirts, Ted.
Hard to tell them apart.
Well, one looks like a boxer and one looks like a ballet dancer. That's just a joke. Don't hate on me, you American fans. It's just a joke.
You know how to wind up the American fans, Carl.
Yeah, they'll be slating me right now. So the hatchet man gets underway, and it's a good break, is this? And he's on the 2-ball, Ted.
Now, it should be noted that Dennis Hatch isn't even playing full-time pool. He's hardly playing pool at all. He basically gave up the game a year ago and bought himself a used car dealership in South Bend, Indiana. And he decided, you know what, the US Open, it's in Vegas, it's being promoted by Matchroom. I love these big time TV events, I gotta get in it. So he came out here without even having shot a ball in 1 year. And he has won 3 straight matches here at the US Open, including a fantastic comeback win over Earl Strickland. And look at this, he's out here. We haven't even started this match a little more than just a minute in.
Yeah, so if you want a used car, message the hatchet man.
He'll sort you out.
This is what Dennis can do, though. He can reel racks off super quick, very talented, left-handed player. 1-0.
Thank you.
I have a feeling this match isn't going to take long. Both these players are fast. And some outside matches right now. Cheng-Che Liu up 10-7 over Matusz Snegatsky. Now, that is a loser's side match, so if Cheng can hold on, he will go on to the next round. Wang Kan 6-3 up over Wojciech Szewczak of Poland. Jeffrey Ignacio 7-5 over James Aranis in an all-Filipino battle.
So Dennis Hatch break and run in the first rack. Can he keep SVB in his chair? And it's another powerful break. Is this one, Ted? One ball looks like it's going to be setting up. Is it a combo? I think it is, you know.
Well, Dennis Hatch, with that crowd-pleasing style, just gets up and whacks him. Doesn't take too long on these shots either. He's got a very fiery personality out here, which the fans always like.
Yeah, key shot here is just try and get this one ball tracking towards this corner pocket as a setup. He needs this to slow down. That's pretty good, you know. In fact, that's perfect. So 3 ball is over on the left side. So as long as he gets on this 3 ball, he's not got a bad chance. 3 ball is near the top jaw, so might cause some kind of little problem, but we'll see. Just bounced a little bit too hard, hasn't it? Yeah, that jaw was always coming into play, and the previous shot he'd have liked to have been exactly on the rail, I think. So now he's faced with a little test. He's forgot about the cue ball, Ted.
He certainly did, and he is very upset with himself, and rightly so. He was cruising along. That was a nice pot, but he scratched, and now that's ball in hand for the 5-time US Open champion.
Yeah, the hatchet man needs to cut them little errors out. He knows better than anybody that, you know, he won't need to be told. But he won't be scared to beat Shane, you know. He's not that type of guy.
That's a good point, Carl. He's not scared to beat him. And I think there are plenty of players who are scared and find it difficult to raise their game to the level where they need to beat Shane Van Boening. He is an intimidating opponent. 5-time US Open champion. And there it is, the Mandalay Bay. We are here at the Convention Center of the Mandalay in Las Vegas. Beautiful weather this time of year. So we're at 1 apiece.
Yes, and we get to see the highly skillful SVB breakoff. 1-1.
I really don't think anybody in the game practices the break shot more than Shane Van Boening. He's first to arrive at the practice table. He's the last to leave.
And that practice pays off time and time again. Very rare you see him hit a bad break off, you know.
It's a massive advantage in 9-ball. Once you master the break, you pretty much master the game.
So it's a thin one, but it's near the rail, so pocketing of the ball's not the problem. He needs to get the cue ball in between that 4 and black 8, doesn't he, that gap? So pace is key, and that looks good. So there you see, you can get the cue ball all the way through that gap now for the red 3. Wow, early nerves from the 5-time champ. Now Dennis Hatch has to clear the table here and try and punish that mistake. That is a must.
Yeah, when we saw Dennis Hatch in his match against Earl Strickland, there was a slew of errors from both players. So certainly Dennis Hatch isn't going to get away with that this time. You can't expect Shane to make too many mistakes. So the hatchet man's going to have to step up his game.
Yeah, Dennis certainly comes to the bracket, under the bracket, I apologise. He comes under the bracket of a natural player, somebody who has got a good eye for the game, kind of just sees the shot and sort of knows what shot to play kind of straight away, a bit like Joshua Filler, Jason Shaw, Carl Boys.
I was going to say Carl Boys. You're winding him up, Carl.
Yeah, I'm getting these Americans out. Dennis just looking at the crowd here, acting like Earl in that shot. Dennis sporting some very fancy shoes. Look at them dazzlers there.
Yeah, they're sparkling. So a nice job by Dennis Hatch, and that all came off that missed ball by Shane Van Boening. And that's what you got to do. You must pounce on the mistakes.
Outside table action, the battle of the Filipinos. Ignacio leads Aranas 7-6.
Shinagotsky has come back. He trails 9-10 to Cheng Che Lu. And Wang Kan 7-4 over Wojciech Szewczak. And there you see the route of Shane Van Boening.
Yeah, that's quite a tricky little section, that, to be fair. Sometimes you cop for what would perceive to be an easier route on paper, but Shane's not had it easy, but he's played flawless up to now. Be interesting to see what the head-to-head is like between these two. Obviously, we know Shane's won many tournaments, but I'm just intrigued. If anybody knows like rough head-to-head between these two, I'd love to hear.
Oh, he's really got the break shot working.
So this 2-ball does cut to right centre, and to be fair, if he gets on the 3, you'd have to say it could be rack over. Needs the needs to miss the 3, and he has done. That's perfect. Well played. Slightly hampered, but he's close to his work, so shouldn't cause too many issues. Just pot your ball, and he has done. you can see Dennis Hatch has got that kind of confident arrogance around the table, and that's what you need when you're playing in the pit.
Well, he can hit them hard. He can. He's got a good soft touch. Plays fast. He's a lot of fun to watch when he's on. And this could get interesting. This for a very quick 3-1 lead over Shane Van Boening. And don't forget, this is a winner's side match, so the loser will get another chance right after this.
Ted, can you just flick to the draw and see where the loser of this match lands?
The loser of this match will play the winner of Joshua Filler and Petri Makkonen. I believe. Oh, no. Nope, they don't have it listed yet. But regardless, the winner qualifies for the final 16, and the loser will get another chance.
The loser will play either James Aranas or Jeffrey Ignacio. So this is a big match, because you
There you go.
You don't want to be going into the losers qualification playing one of them two, do you? So there's extra added pressure on this match. The hatchet man is absolutely crunching the brake. I must say, Ted, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I love this break rule. If you hit a good break shot and just get that cue ball exactly in a parallel line across the one ball, you do seem to get rewarded.
All right, well, next time they rack the balls, maybe we can do a little more analysis on what you're talking about. Oh, he nudged the 3-ball out of the way. That ball was available. Now it is not.
When we get to the final 16, we could do some real good break analysis, because we'll have the telestrator, so I can stick some lines up for you pool fans.
Wow.
The hatchet man,
The telestrator,
has made a mess of that one, hasn't he? So a couple of racks. You know,
yeah.
he could be 4-0 up, possibly 5-0 up. He's had chances in all the racks. So Shane, feeling the tension, he's overdrawn that a long way. As you can see, he's right near the pocket, and he's super straight on this. Straight on this shot is not the end of the world because of where the 5 is, but if he doesn't get far enough down table, how's he going to get on the 6? So he's either going to play a stun run through, will he risk drawing it back a few inches to play the 5 in left corner? Yeah, he's played that well. He's pinched a bit of the pocket, but he might have to play a 6-7 combination. Well, I'll tell you what a shot he's played there. He had more angle than I first thought, and he powered that one in, didn't he? So it's going to be 3-2, Hatch with another mistake. You're not going to keep getting away with mistakes, Dennis. But he knows that as good as anybody.
And he looks like he's prepared to sit there a while. So Shane Van Boening gets one back. It's 3-2. A poor effort on the safety on the 3-ball by Dennis Hatch leads to the clear by Shane Van Boening. 3-2. Updates on our outside tables. Chieh Lu has defeated Matusz Śniegocki. Śniegocki is out. Chieh now moves on to a qualification match with Imran Majid. Wang Can up 7-5 over Wojciech Szewczak. Jeffrey Ignacio 9, James Aranis 6. So tell us what he is doing, Carl. You said he's got the special break shot down.
Yeah, when the 9-ball's on the spot and you're using the Accurac, if you break head on, the wing ball will not go in. So the wing ball in this instance is the blue 2. The wing ball only goes in if you play this with loads of spin, but Shane's not trying that break. What Shane's doing is he's playing it a lot fuller with a little spin and making the 1 in the side. But the actual aiming point of the 1, the cue ball has to come more or less in a parallel line where that middle diamond is. If it goes low or high, the 1 ball doesn't seem to go in. So it's a skillful break. There's no manipulating the rack, cheating the rack, racking the balls how you want. There's no 1 ball on the spot to make it an easy break. This is a skillful break, Ted.
Well, good analysis from Box Office Boys. Certainly, that's not going to wind up your American fans, is it?
I'll find something to wind them up, though, Ted.
I was going to say, it seems like anything you do, you wind them up. That's all in good fun. And Shane is going to make Dennis Hatch pay for that mistake in the last rack. One mistake can often cost you several racks, especially when you're up against one of the greatest of all time in Shane Van Boening.
So Dennis, would he have took 3-3 after 6 racks? You would probably say yes, so just got to stay positive.
We are tied at 3. Race to 11. The winner qualifies for the final 16. The loser gets one more chance right after this.
There they are. $2,000 them shoes, Ted.
The Dazzlers.
Well, I'm sure if Dennis does lose this match, and then he loses his losers qualifier, he might go and do the tango in them shoes.
I wonder if he wears those when he's pitching cars.
Yeah, that'll seal the deal. So, the SVB break.
Let's watch it again.
Interesting how he swaps sides so often, because the last break, I'm sure he broke from where he was sat and he made the 1 ball.
He's changed sides.
Yeah, but why? Because he can't check the rack. So I'm going to ask him that. That's an interesting little thing to find out. Live from the Mandalay Bay Convention Center here in Las Vegas. SVB breaks. And as many times we always seem to see, he has a shot on the lowest ball. Cue ball gets kicked. Comes round, avoids a couple of balls. And this is a good opportunity. He's going to be playing this, you would think. So his next shot, he'll just go through the gap of the pink 4 and the brown 7. Just drawing the cue ball back a little bit, like so. Both players would love to just win this match and have no more pressure in the losers' qualification match. That goes without saying.
This all goes back to when it was 3-1 and Hatch had an open table, but he nudged that 3 ball, then played safe. And it was a poor save and allowed Shane to come at the table, clear their colors. And since then, Dennis Hatch has been relegated to that nice, comfortable leather chair. This will be 3 on the trot for SVB. 4-3, motoring along. In stroke. And with his eye on the final 16, where it becomes single elimination, knockout, all the way to the U.S. Open title and the Barry Berman Trophy.
What a trophy that is, Ted.
Yes, it's been renamed the Barry Berman Trophy after the late promoter who started this event over 40 years ago. His children, Brady and Shannon, are here, and you can just see how proud they are to see the event that their father started and nurtured and held all those years morph into something that really is going to be a global event.
And again, the SVB breakoff works out lovely.
Jeffrey Ignacio on the hill, 10-7 now over James Aranis. So if Jeffrey Ignacio goes on to win, he will have one more match to try to make it into the final 16. This is a clinical display of 9-ball from Shane Van Boening, 5 times U.S. Open champion. If he wins one more, he will become the all-time leader at the U.S. Open, surpassing Earl Strickland.
Yeah, he's run the cue ball on a little bit further than he would like, so he's going to be topping this ball with right hand spin, coming down back towards the left hand side of the table. So that's good from Shane. It's looking like a 2-rack lead.
Right out of a textbook. And it's Professor Van Boening teaching this class.
Thank you.
From 3-1 down, now up 5-3 in a matter of minutes. And as Carl said, it's really this masterful break shot that sets it all up.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can't guarantee where the balls are going to land or where the cue ball's going to finish up if it gets kissed. All you can do is hit a good, solid break, and the rest is out of your hands.
There you see the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. From one end to the other, 33 tables in action here.
So Dennis Hatch watches on, just hoping he gets back to the table. You know, he needs to get back to the table soon and all. It's no good if Shane runs a 3 or 4 pack from here, because, you know, if he runs 3 from here, he'll be 8-3 up, and then that's a healthy lead. You don't see many comebacks like Aranas, and there you see Ted. I know he's made balls, but the 1 ball was nowhere near the side, and that's because he didn't cut the break enough. Watch the cue ball here. See, it just comes straight back. 1 ball, nowhere near the side. So he's fortunate to have any kind of shot here. And if he pots the 1 ball, he's going to be on the 2 ball, so this is a big shot.
Isn't that a lovely shot? What a touch. Straight down the rail. And away he goes yet again.
Yeah, this is what Shane does. He does it time and time again.
There's nothing he can do. Shane is in total control.
SVB is a package machine. He runs packs for fun more than anybody else in the game.
He loves it. The winner breaks format is his territory. Nicely done on that 9-ball.
Thank you.
6-3 in favor of Shane Van Boening. That's 5 straight racks in which, well, that's 4 that Dennis hasn't gotten out of his chair. The first rack that in this package that Shane won, he won because Dennis played a poor safe and left it open. And that just shows how tight your game has to be when you go up against the great Shane Van Boening.
Pool fans, after the losers qualification round, when we've got our final 16 set, myself and Ted and Nick Teal will be doing Off the Rail, so stay tuned for that. That will be going out on the Facebook page, US Open 9-ball, so stay tuned for our show Off the Rail.
We're going off the rail, Boise, literally. So Shane Van Boening moves over to this side of the table. Interesting, he just keeps changing it up. There, the 1 ball goes right in.
The only thing I can think of why he's switching it up is because he's looking at where the balls are. So you see where the 2-ball was, it was on the left side of the rack. That's the only thing I can think he's doing.
That's what I was thinking, because you're not allowed to check the rack. That has been banned. You have to stay at your end of the table. So he's looking for any edge that he can find to try to not only make a ball, but of course he's got to get the shot after the break on the object ball.
It was thin and he's missed it by a long way. Dennis Hatch is back at the table, just 3 racks behind. Trick shots from the hatchet man, but it's not paid off. I think he's hooked on this 4-ball. So he's going to kick at this 4-ball and try and pocket it in the top right pocket. He's got to be careful of a scratch. This isn't going to work. SVB is back at the table.
And it could be a while before Dennis gets back up with another chance.
Extension called.
So Shane uses his 1 extension per game. Not a nice shot. Wow. Reverse cut and then brings it all the way across table, down table. Position for the 5 ball. He is looking unstoppable. Shane Van Boening now 7-3 and motoring along, looking like nothing will get in his way on the road to the final 16.
James Aranas pulls another rack back. He was 10-6 behind. We've already seen him do one comeback. Can the comeback king do it again? Now we have started losers qualification rounds, Ted. Shout him out, buddy.
Joshua Filler 2-1 up on Petri Makkonen. The winner goes through. Kopinyi 1-0 on Aloysius Yap. And Lu Haitao also 1-0 on Marco Tucher.
The fans have come out tonight for Judgment Day, and we will know our final 16, I would suspect, in 1.5 hours. So pool fans, we will know the draw for the final 16. SVB makes the 1 ball, but he's no shot on the lowest ball. Straight away tries to lock him up behind the 3, and lock him up he does. Ted, Shane, time and time again, match after match, so consistent, isn't he? I mean, Jason, phenomenal player, but he had a little wobble in the last match, didn't he? Shane just seems to have this, I don't know, time and time again, so consistent at just...
Well, that's what happens when you're the hardest working player in the game. I don't think anybody trains harder than Shane Van Boening. Longer hours, no. He's always the first to arrive at the pool hall, last to leave.
I mean, obviously Shane is American, born over here, he was brought up playing this game. This is the Q Sport game. It's the only Q Sport game in America. Jason Shaw from Scotland as a kid played English 8-ball, so he had a much later start than Shane. So who knows if Jason was born in America, would he be 5-time US Open 9-ball champion?
That would be fascinating to see them in a final. Shane, the 5-time champion, the American, going after the title here of the American game of pool against Scotland's Jason Shaw, who's the defending champion. Be a great storyline. Wow. So the hatchet man gets back at the table, but to no avail. Shane Van Boening yet again. 8-3 now. The winning Line is in sight for SVB.
Yeah, Dennis just sitting there waiting, praying he gets some kind of visit. There you see the current world 9-ball champion, Joshua Filler. Ted, has anybody done the US Open World 9-ball Championship double?
I'd have to look that up.
You would think
But
no.
that would be a tough one. I have not heard of that, but I can't be 100% sure. So we'll have to have our statisticians, our crack statisticians, look that up.
I would hazard a guess at no. Certainly in the modern era, I don't think it's been done. SVB, regular sign, one ball disappears, centre pocket. And he's got a shot at this 3-ball, and this would probably be played in the corner, and it is, and it's gone. So good news for Shane is this 5-ball is in a position where he can play it into the top left and drop in behind the green 6 and play the green 6 all the way down table. Failing that, there is a possible 6-7 combination. So will SVB try and drop him behind this 6? That's the shot he's played. You can tell with the speed. And yet again, he is perfect. Dennis Hatz got off to such a good start in this match, didn't he, Ted? Looked like he was going to put up a real big fight.
Well, there was really one mistake at 3-1 that cost him the match, and that's just how superior a player Shane Van Boening is. This is as good a master class as Jason Shaw put on last night against Corey Deuel. In some ways, this seems even better.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Shane's done this kind of thing in every match, hasn't he, Ted? He's not had a... Nobody seems to have rattled him. On the outside table, Fortunski, that was quite close. But he's so different playing on the outside table. You've got guys in this tournament who play better out of the way on the outside, and then you've got guys who need to be centre court with the crowd, and some guys on the outside can't handle centre court.
Shane Van Boening thrives in this environment. He's from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and a very successful pool player, not just in terms of titles, but in terms of the money he has won and generated from sponsorships. And he is has made a very, very good living playing pool. And he is one of the few Americans who travel outside of the borders of the United States to play in tournaments all over the world. And it's a great lifestyle. Shane loves it. And I was talking to him the other night at dinner, and he often wonders like why other Americans don't join him and hit the road overseas. A few do occasionally. Skylar Woodward has, Billy Thorpe on occasion, but not to the extent that Shane does. So there is a ball down, and he will be shooting at the 1. Looks like the 1-8 is lined up.
Yes, Ted, I do believe it is. And I was looking at Dennis Hatch, and he wasn't happy at all. He's just not really had a go, has he? That's the reality.
Isn't that a great shot? He not only does he hit the combination, he gets a nice angle, open shot on the 1.
Seconds.
So does the 2 ball pass the 6, or does he have to play a combo? It's tight if it does go. So it was a combo, and it was a well-judged combo.
Wow, what a nice touch that is. He's really got it all, doesn't he, Carl? There's any weaknesses you could find in his game?
No, I don't think there actually is, to be fair. Plays combos and caroms extremely well. Banks the ball good. His positional play, cue ball, fantastic. We all know what his break's like. He's got a lot of heart. Loves playing in the centre court arena of pool, so yeah, it's certainly hard to find a weakness, to be fair.
You are watching a master at the height of his craft. Shane Van Boening leading 10-3. One more rack and he will be in the final 16, where it becomes single elimination, and that all starts tomorrow. There you see Joshua Filler, the world champion from Germany, 4-1 up on Petri Makkonen. So the winner there moves through to the final 16. Aloysius Yap up 2-1 on Ko Pin Yi. Those are also qualification matches. Lu Haitao 3-0 up on Marco Teucher. And Ko Ping Chung, the younger brother of Ko Pin Yi, 3-0 up on Tyler Steyer.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Ignacio won that match, so don't forget, folks, the loser of this TV table will be playing Ignacio to qualify. So it's not all doom and gloom for Dennis Hatch. He will have his second life, so he can still qualify.
So the 2-ball went down. He's seems to have a look at the 1-ball.
Tries to play safe, double kisses the 1, and the 1-ball goes safe.
And Hatch is probably going, what is going on here? Even when he double kisses, it ends up safe.
And this isn't going to work, is it? Because the 1-ball's coming back down table. Will he get lucky? Well, he's got a bit of luck.
He got him back, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he said. He said something funny. The crowd laughed. Now Shane has got a chance of potting the 9-ball here. He's going to go up towards top left-hand pocket with left-hand spin.
Oh, this would be good.
And come all the way back down. If he hits this 1, this is going to go close, this, folks. He will not be a million miles away with this shot.
He very nearly made it, but he fouled. So now Dennis gets ball in hand.
Yep, there you see, just missed the 1-ball. Any newbies watching, any novices, on a foul, you get ball in hand, place it anywhere on the table. And the nightmare gets worse for Dennis Hatch. 10-3 down. Not really had many visits, has he, to be fair. And he gets a miscue. I think it's important now for Dennis to regroup. Go and wash your face. Get some cold water on it. And get yourself up for that losers or left side of the draw qualification round. You can still do this, Dennis. I'd sure like to see him in the last 16. Big character for our game.
You've had your run-ins with him, haven't you? At the Mosconi Cup?
Yeah, we've even ended up rolling on the floor, Ted. I won't lie. We've done it all, me and Dennis. Could write a book on what we've got up to. Maybe you're the man to write it, Ted.
Could be. Could be a huge seller. So when you talk to Dennis now, I'm sure that's all been forgotten, right?
Yeah, we're good. It's all fun and games, isn't it? After a few shickers. Anything's possible. Don't launch your cue, Dennis. You've got another match, pal. So, the 5-time US Open champion, many people's favourite, will book his place in the final 16 if he converts these 3 balls. Of course, we don't know who plays yet in the final 16. Once all matches are finished, there will be a redraw. The 8 winners will play the 8 losers.
So there it is. The 9-ball goes down, and Shane Van Boening What a marvelous performance. He wins 11-3. He qualifies for the final 16 tomorrow, the knockout stage. Jason Shaw is in there, and as a few others already. We're going to get to that point very soon in the next hour or so where we will know the makeup of the final 16. But right now, a big tip of the hat for a fine performance from one of the greats of the game, Shane Van Boening.
The last 16 of the US Open 9-ball championship starting to take place. Here are the results on table one for today. Tyler Styer beat Justin Bergman. Albanushin beat Darren Appleton. James Aranas, what a match that was. 11-10 against Torsten Homan. Jason Shaw, toughest match so far for him in the tournament, 11-8 against Petri Makkonen. And we've just seen Shane Van Boening, despite a slow start, beat Dennis Hatch comfortably in the end, 11-3. And Shane's in the studio to speak to us now. Congratulations, Shane. You've gone through without losing any matches, but that one was actually quite a tough start for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, he breaking well, so that's what I was worried about. And then he, you know, missed a shot and gave me an opportunity to string that together.
And yesterday you said that you were close to being on top form. Are you now on top form at exactly the right time?
I feel like I need to work on a little bit of things, and the most important shot is the break. So that'll be the shot I'll be working on for the next couple of days. Is
it a relief to not have had to rely on the double elimination? You've done it without any defeats, which of course must be, you don't have the pressure of knowing that one defeat and you're out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only a couple shots, a couple matches away from winning the trophy, so I'm just happy to be in the final 16, especially with, you know, the strong field with players from all over the world. It's probably the toughest tournament you can play in.
And only one table from now on for you, and the crowd all focused on one match. What are you expecting the atmosphere to be like for the rest of the tournament? Because it's been electric already. It's going to be even better.
If I can just stay focused like I did on my last match and the previous matches that I did, I shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah. Well, Shane, well done. Good luck tomorrow as well. We'll see you in the morning. Right, we're going to go to one of the outside tables before we wait for the table one match. Joshua Filler is in action against Petri Makkonen, who we saw lose earlier on. But look at that, Joshua Filler having a great start to this. Let's go to the commentators, Michael McMullen and Jim White.
Yes, and obviously Petri Makkonen coming off that defeat at the hands of Jason Shaw on our main table and going straight on one of the outside tables against the world champion. How do you feel about your luck?
Well, he'll never forget this day, will he? The day that he played two holders of two such prestigious titles. And he really put it up to Shaw earlier on, and in the end, perhaps he had some regrets of his own, because he ran Shaw very close, 11-8, but a couple of other acts could certainly have gone his way, but for fairly elementary errors that he made, Jim.
Well, and also Joshua Filler came through to this match with an 11-10 nail biter against Albin Ocean. So you've got one player on a high, the other one very much on a low. We talk about that all the time with this double elimination format, and that's why it's so important to get to the elimination rounds. Effectively a new tournament.
It's been an extraordinary few days. We've had the best part of 500 matches played. It's been a tremendous effort from everyone involved to get us to this stage. And a totally different field tomorrow. Every match we've been watching, we've been keeping an eye on what's been happening on other tables, but tomorrow all eyes on the main table in the single elimination stage.
Main reason being that it's the only table.
Exactly.
So Joshua with yet another opportunity. Quick look to see if this passes into the side. Well, he's not happy about that. Not sure what he thinks happened that he wasn't comfortable with, but unless the cue ball picks something up off the table. the ref had a look at it, and I don't know if he wanted it cleaned, and the referee wasn't really going to do that. Not too sure what happened there exactly. But Filler's very amused by it. Possibly a kick too, and intended running through the cue ball to play this ball into the top left corner instead of the one he's playing it in now.
And as we're using this match to fill in the time before we go back to the main table, Jim, you might say we're using filler as filler. In fact, I just did say we're using filler as filler.
You've spent way too much time with Phil Yates.
Any time with Phil Yates is too much, Jim.
Chance for Makkonen now. And he needs all the help he can get. Looking at that scoreline, 7-1.
Wang Can is at the match table doing some practice of his break-off shot. Don't see any sign of Billy Thorpe yet. His cues are sitting next to his chair. We'll be getting underway in that one in just a few minutes' time. Tyler Steyer has just won the 5th rack against Ko Ping Chung in the losers qualification round, so closing now to 3-2 down. Aloysius Yap, who beat Niels Fyen earlier, going well, 4-1 up on Ko Ping Yi. And Lu Hai Tao is leading Marco Teucher 5-1.
Billy Thorpe has made his way into the main arena. So as you've already noted, Michael, we're literally minutes away from commencing with the match that we're all geared up for.
It's basically just a straight knockout tournament from here on in. We know the 8 players who have come through the winner's side into the single elimination stage. All 8 places from the loser's side are still up for grabs. 4 of those matches already in progress. But basically now, the winners of those matches go through to tomorrow, and the losers go out. So double elimination still, effectively, but really now you lose and you go home.
And I'm assuming the 8 losers, the winners will be placed into their respective spots, and the 8 losers will be drawn into those 8 winners.
Yeah, each of those losers will face one of the players who's come through the winner's side. So they'll play basically in sessions of 2 matches. There'll be 3 sessions tomorrow. One at 9 AM, one at 1:30 in the afternoon, one at 6 in the evening. So 6 matches across the day. Then the remaining 2 last 16 matches will be played in Thursday's morning session. And then the 4 quarterfinals spread across the 2 sessions on Thursday. Semi-finals on Friday morning and the final on Friday afternoon. At the end of which someone will walk off with the trophy and the $50,000 winner's check.
And by all accounts, it's too heavy for any person to lift, so he's going to need help. The Barry Berman US Open Trophy, commissioned by Matchroom for the winner of this event, in honor of the founder of the US Open 9-ball championships.
Lu Hai Tao has stretched his lead over the Dutchman Marco Teutcher to 6 racks to 1. We do know, incidentally, Jason Shaw, the defending champion, will be first up when those last 16 matches get underway. And Soo Joy-An and Shane Van Boening are both going to have a day off because their matches aren't scheduled until Thursday morning. That's a pretty useful thing to have after all the exertions of the last few days and all the pressure still to come.
Chance here for Makkonen. You know, I talk about the highs and lows of pool, but pretty much all these players are very familiar with this double elimination format. So having to have played a match directly following a loss, they've been there and done that.
I have heard of some tournaments where the format is that if the guy who's come through the loser's side beats the guy who's come through the winner's side in the final, he then has to go out and beat him for a second time.
Yeah, that's a true double knockout. And there's still a lot of tournaments that employ that format.
Ko Pin Yi has reduced his deficit slightly. He's won the 7th rack against Aloysius Yap. So it's now 5-2 in that one.
I like that. Take it on the right side. Sorry? Do you know what? I don't care.
Well, Makkonen needed that one.
I think I'm on 21 race to 9s now. Race to 11s, this is. 21. It's race to what? No, 11. It's my 21st one in 3 days. Not counting.
So the reason for this delay on the main table is that Wang Can just needs a little bit of a breather. He only finished a few minutes ago, beating Wojciech Szewczyk 11-7. Some big names went out in the previous round on the losers' side, Jim. Alban Ocean, Niels Fyen, Ralph Souquet, all beaten. And it's all going on here at the Mandalay Bay, which will be the premier 9-ball venue in the world this year, really, because not only is it staging the US Open, but the Mosconi Cup will be here in November.
And it's our home for a few more days.
It is. Very pleasant it is as well. Not often I've stayed on the 59th floor of anything. I remember in Japan once during the Football World Cup, I was about 60 floors up and there was a massive baseball stadium right next to the hotel, so you could look down and watch the match from on high. It was a tremendous way to watch a sporting event.
Wang Can. And as you'd expect, most Asians always very cool and calm, very much in control of their emotion.
It'll be interesting to have a look at his technique and his style and his stance and all the rest of it, because coming from China, there's a good chance, I don't know whether he has or not, but there's a good chance he's played quite a bit of snooker as well, and we've seen it with some of the other Chinese players. You can see a bit of a snooker background there, so that'll be something to look out for.
And Billy Thorpe, a little bit more emotional, passionate. I think you'll see that on display with him. This is a big match for him. I mean, obviously it goes without saying there's Mosconi Cup points that are on offer at the Open.
Yeah,
and still, sorry, I was going to say, Michael, still plenty of spots available on that USA Mosconi Cup team.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say about that as well, of course, is that having been part of that fantastic, historic really win for the Americans last year, he'll be as keen as anyone to experience that again as they try to back it up with a win on home soil.
Prove it wasn't luck. But Europe has been dominant in the Mosconi Cup as of late. So the Americans bringing the hallowed trophy back to its home. Well, they're going to feel every right to try and keep it here. Good thing for cell phones.
Do you reckon they're all looking at those Mosconi Cup point standings? Either that or making dinner reservations or picking out a casino to go to. 3-3 now, Tyler Steyer in his match against Ko Ping Chung.
Sort the table out, that's all.
Steyer, another member of that Mosconi Cup side, of course.
Right. Yeah.
And the other matches starting shortly. Mieszko Fortunski
The scoring's all right, we can get on with that.
of Poland will play Wu Jiaquing. Imran Majid, one of only 2 British players left in the tournament, faces Chen Chi Lu. And Dennis Hatch, who we saw involved in one of the matches of the tournament the other night, well, he'll play Jeffrey Ignacio.
It started up there. It's on,
I mean, you can go ahead.
Beat Earl Strickland 11-10. Strickland then, of course, went out and played in the loser's side the next morning and lost 11-10 again. So I think we're just about ready to go.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for their scorekeeper, and he has made an appearance.
Okay. Have a good game. Have a good game, buddy. Enjoy both.
The lag to initiate everything breaking related.
Right, you're right. Ready when you are, yeah.
Here we go then.
Sorry.
A race to 11 racks for a place in the single elimination stage.
Very good break to start. An ideal. See that one into the side. Ideal control of the cue ball to the middle of the table. It looks like everything sat up and obeyed. Well, that was a tentative first shot from Wang Can there. I mean, never easy playing on this main table. This is his first match on it. Just always got a little different atmosphere, the main TV table, doesn't it?
He's 25 years of age. Looks about 12. Don't know what his secret is of looking so youthful.
Moisturizer.
I think we're a bit past the stage where it's going to do us any good.
Nice angle on the 5. Can bring this across the middle of the table again for the 6 bottom right. And he can have a look at what I can confirm. Really doesn't have to do too much here. Just connect the dots.
Yeah, this is the sort of chance you want to have in the first rack, isn't it? And you called it from the break, Jim. You said they'd fallen absolutely ideally for him. And a nice straightforward start is just what you're looking for. Chance to play your way into your stride. Moved from one of the outside tables, of course, into the main table. He's made the adjustment quite quickly.
Hit a few balls warming up, hit a few breaks.
That is true. That obviously helps to acclimatise. But nothing like a break and run out in the first rack, and that's what Wang Can has had. He leads Billy Thorpe 1-0.
Yeah, the order of the day for him.
Thank you.
Helping Nigel get the balls on the table.
His first big impact, sorry, I was just going to say his first big impact was as far back as 2013, actually, in the Ultimate 10-Ball Championship men's division, where he finished well up the field there in second place and won almost $15,000. And that turned out to be his best year to date, really. Not achieved a huge amount in recent years.
Well, Billy with a big yawn just wants to get through this match, and he can have a real good sleep. Much earlier finish tonight than the previous two.
Martin? Yeah.
Joshua Filler 9-3 up now on Petri Makkonen in the match we were looking at earlier. Lucius Yap 6-2 ahead against Ko Pin-Yi, and Lu Hai Tao also racing away with his match. 7-1 now. He leads Marco Teucher.
Well, again, a perfect break. Controlling that cue ball and keeping the two in the middle of the table. Couldn't really place these a lot better.
Well, we saw him practicing this break-off shot on the table. That's what he was using his few minutes for, primarily. Looks like it was a good idea.
The key in winning 9-ball is always maintaining the angle. With an angle, you can get that cue ball virtually anywhere on the table. And also, you don't have to force anything. The harder that you have to play a shot, the smaller the pockets are.
Winner of the Empire State 10-ball championship in New York back in 2014. Plays primarily in his own country. He's had a few decent runs in the China Open.
Just off straight on this 8, so you'll draw this back. Get that cue ball closer to the 9.
So far, it's a case of Wang very definitely can. A break and run out in the first rack, a break and run out in the second. Billy Thorpe hasn't been to the table yet. He's already 2-0 down. And meanwhile, Joshua Filler, Jim, is on the hill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Petri back at the table, looking to stay alive in this one.
One half of the Finnish team that won the World Cup of Pool back in 2012. Mika Immonen was the other half. And they backed it up by getting to the semi-finals in defence of their title and then doing the same again the year after that. Dennis Hatch has won the opening rack against Jeffrey Ignacio.
Well, this one will be a little different. Again, a successful break, but not quite as nicely perched as he has been in the preceding 2 racks. And also noticeably that 6 and 4 up the top left corner. They're cause for concern.
It's a virtual action replay there. He's potted the 1 and the 3, the very same balls he potted off the break in the previous rack. So Billy Thorpe waits all that time to get a shot, and when he does arrive to the table, this is what he's facing.
You know, that was a tricky little shot that Wang Can just tried. I think he tried to develop the 4 off the cushion and hold the cue ball behind the 6. Well, it's a good escape, good reply from Thorpe. But right away, I'm very impressed at the tactical game that Wang Can possesses.
Extension called.
Yeah, just wants a little extra time. It's a 40-second shot clock, and you can buy an extra 40 seconds with an extension. Well, he's left the 2, but in pocketing the 2, there's no chance for Billy to get position on that 4. Well, the 4's open now. You know, play this into the left-hand cushion. Try and play with bottom and hold the cue ball behind the 4. You need to hit it flush, and he didn't. If this goes in the corner, it's disaster.
Yeah, could have turned out a lot worse. Okay, he's got a shot at the 2. Tough job to get on the 4. Yeah, and even the pot wasn't guaranteed, and of course he was having to force the issue a little positionally. And this is a good chance now for Thorpe.
Tricky little shot on the 2, though. A very acute angle into that side pocket. Got to be very accurate here.
Hard to see things going wrong from here. So it looks as though Thorpe is going to get off the mark. Liu Hai Tao looks to be heading for the single elimination stage. He's 9-1 up now on Marco Teutsch.
Yeah, you can't see Thorpe failing here.
It's not been the happiest of places for the home contingent, this main table, over the 3 days. Seen a lot of Americans beaten on centre stage by overseas opponents. Billy Thorpe, though, is off and running now in this match. He still trails, but now it's 2-1.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only American stalwart that we've seen looking good nick on this table is Chieh, really.
Yeah, and he's the only home player guaranteed at this moment to be in the single elimination stage. 3 players from Chinese Taipei, Su Kailun, Chang Yulong, and Su Yuan. And they're all in the bottom half of the draw with Van Boening. The 4 players through in the top half, the defending champion Jason Shaw is the only British player definitely through, may yet be joined by Imran Majid. We've got Francisco Sanchez Ruiz of Spain, Jeffrey De Luna from the Philippines. Well, he got to have a player from the Philippines in the last 16. And your compatriot, of course, Alex Pagulayan.
And there you see Billy's road to the current match.
You look at the scores there, Jim, it just shows how it's got progressively harder for him as it's gone on. Ooh, has that 6 run just far enough for him to be able to pop the 2? Might get a better idea from this angle. Yep, he's on it.
All there.
Yeah, I think if you were placing them by hand, this is more or less what you'd do with them in a practice routine.
You get into these pressure situations, and this is where you rely on all those hours of practice. You know, turning everything into muscle memory so you can just maintain that high level of concentration and let the fundamentals look after themselves.
Well, you were primarily a snooker player, Jim, and you reached quarterfinals of the World Championship a couple of times and quarterfinals in other big events as well. European Open, the British Open as well, I think. How many hours a day were you putting in on the practice table in those days?
I'm not the best example that you want to follow in that regard. I remember in '92, I lost to Jimmy in the quarterfinals of the World Championship, and I was practicing on one of the tables just in behind the studio, and they turned the cameras around to show me practicing, and they prefaced it with saying a very rare sight indeed, Jim White's practicing. Not necessarily the best attitude, Michael.
What about these guys then? I mean, I know they don't all play full time, but what kind of level of practice does it take in 9-ball to be competitive at this level?
I think like Shane was saying, you know, there's different aspects you'll come out and try and work on, and in this game, if you've got a big break, you can compete with anybody. Nice run out from Billy there. I mean, obviously you got to have the shots and the understanding of the game as well, but having a big break in pool is like having a long drive in golf, big serve in tennis.
So Billy Thorpe was 2-0 down. A couple of break and runouts from Wang Can. Thorpe was frozen out for those first couple of racks, but he's won 2 in a row since then, back on level terms. Petri Makkonen is making a fight of it, you know, against Joshua Filler. He's pulled it back now to 10-6. Jeffrey Ignacio now leading Dennis Hatch 2-1.
Yeah, again, same story over there. Jeffrey coming into that match after a win. Dennis being bumped over there after a thumping at the hands of Shane Van Boening. So pretty tough to stay positive when you know you've got another match right away.
Yeah, and with Thorpe level at 2-all, Hatch behind, Styler only 4-3 up against Ko Ping Chung. Could have the unthinkable situation of only one American player in the last 16 of the US Open.
The game is global.
Well, it's by far the most global of all the cue sports. Starting to get into his stride now.
Yeah, 1 and 2 knocked in off the break. It's got a very thin cut on the 3. Looks like it might take that cue ball into the 6 and 4 at the top of the table. Well, not quitely, or not quite as planned.
Been a tournament winner already this year, the Derby City Classic 9-ball Banks division back in February.
That's a hotbed of champions, that event. When you grab some cash from there, you've had to play some pool. Different disciplines there. They played the banks, the 9-ball. There's a 1-pocket event.
I think he was going to the banks after that event, pocketed $10,000.
Now, as he played this hard enough to get behind cover, it looks like it. Excellent shot. It had to be judged perfectly because he knew he was going to be leaving along 4 if he didn't find cover at the bottom end of the table. So well played, Wang Can. And it's bottom, ball in hand.
Ball in hand.
He'd like to have followed through about another 12 inches there. Would have made this shot a lot easier, and position to the 5 much more straightforward too. Well short of pace. But the one bonus is he had enough angle where cue ball was always going to track up to the 6.
Joshua Filler is through. He's in the single elimination stage. Petri Makkonen made a fight of it towards the end. But in the end, Filler, world champion, the winner, 11-6. And the first man through from the loser's side. Liu Haitao will probably be the second because he's 10-2 up against Marco Teucher. And Lucius Yap may not be far behind, having just won rack 11 to stretch his lead over Ko Pin Yi to 8-3.
Very nicely played shot right there. Cue ball went for a trip, but a very controlled trip.
So Billy Thorpe still hasn't led in this match. He came from 2-0 down to level at 2-all. But Wang Can regains the lead at 3 racks to 2.
Thank you. Thank you.
Billy had a chance, but the failed
Thank you.
attempt at the kick. Gift wrap that one.
You see a lot of empty tables now because only a few matches left to be played in this stage. It's a real pool hall atmosphere all around the hall, and then you come into the middle and you've got this center stage. It's a nice contrast between the two.
And you know, also worth mentioning, there's been that much pool played in the first 3 days. You've got a lot of players that they know they're going to be playing tomorrow, and I don't see one of them on the practice tables.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, should we do what they did to you and highlight it in the coverage? If we do see one of them out there, we'll make some sarcastic remark about what an unusual sight it is. So Wang Can 3-2 up as he starts us off in rack 6. 1 in the side, 9 going close to the side. Not quite the golden break though.
Yeah, it may still provide the same dividends. Looking at the way these balls have finished, every chance here for Wang Can to clear up. Just get the cue ball back in the middle of the table. Worked nicely.
Pension called.
At only 20 years of age, he was on the China team for the 2014 World Cup of Pool. They're highly fancied, but were beaten by Austria 9-3 in the quarterfinals, having gone in as third seeds. Tyler Steyer, one of the relatively few home players left in, has just gone 5-4 up against Ko Ping Chung. So it looks as though Wang Can is going to break and run out for the third time already in this match. And with the easiest 9-ball you ever did see, he goes 4-2 in front.
Well, all by virtue of a perfect break. And that's the danger. Billy, well aware of that. You know, the break is a massive weapon in 9-ball.
Yeah, and he's bringing the heavy artillery. Fantastic breaking throughout the match so far. As I said, we saw him practicing it on the match table before the start.
Beautiful city. At night, it lights up.
When you lived here, Jim, did you live in and around the city, or were you a bit further out?
I was in Henderson, one of the outlying cities, just about, I'm going to say maybe 6-7 miles from the Strip. There's a lot of pockets of residential areas in and around Las Vegas that are very nice.
Speaking of pockets, Wang Can has found them yet again from the break.
Yeah, I'm more impressed with how he keeps landing very nicely on the next ball on. In this case, it's going to be the 3. And I mean, but you get that cue ball to the middle of the table, more times than not, you're going to have a shot. And that's what he's been doing.
So it's the home player trailing here, and also the same on table 24. Dennis Hatch now 5-1 down against Jeffrey Ignacio.
And remember, Dennis won the first rack there.
That's right.
Two straight to get above that 6, so just keeping the game simple. And again, showing a lot of composure. Walking back to the table, just wiping down his cue. If he is intimidated or in any way overawed by this situation, he's masking it about as well as anyone I've ever seen.
Well, one of his compatriots is already through. Liu Haitao becomes the first Chinese player to go through. He's beaten Marco Teucher by 11 racks to 2. We may have as many as 3 Chinese in the single elimination stage. Wang Can, of course, progressing nicely here. Wu Jiaquing still in it, but he's 4-1 down at Mieszko Fortunski. So just as he did in the first 2 racks, it's back-to-back break and runouts for Wang Can. And now he's 3 clear for the first time at 5-2.
American hopeful Tyler Steyer up against the younger of the Coe brothers.
So this one's going level. And the prospect just grows and grows of Shane van Boening being the only home representative in the single elimination stage. Well, this time, Jim, he hasn't got the shape.
No, the one didn't go in that time. Got the point and the side, and I mean, he's got the cue ball in the middle. But you take that one off the table and have a look.
Jeffrey Ignacio continuing his streak against Dennis Hatch. He's 6-1 up now.
Just looking at the area that he wants to push to.
Push out cold. Set.
Well, side cushion is option one. Just hit as much of that one as you can, and you know, just knock it over to the right rail and use one of those other colors as a blocker.
I'll shot.
He tried to make that. He tried to cut that in, go up and down the table, and come back for the three. I think the scoreboard dictated his shot selection there, and it may well cost him the rack.
Well, you give ball in hand at this level, and from this sort of position, you're pretty much right off the rack at that stage.
First sign of, you know, inexperience, a little bit impetuous with that effort.
Thorpe just couldn't wait to get out of his chair there. He was very quick at it. He'll be relieved to take this one. If he lost this rack 6-2 down, well, that's starting to become a very substantial lead. Instead of which, he's got back to 2 behind. Audacious shot choice from Wang Can resulted in the scratch, and that ultimately led to Billy Thorpe running out to close to 5-3 down.
Yeah, I wonder if Wang Can is questioning the shot selection on that last. There's his path to this match.
Yeah, had to come through 4 rounds of the loser's side. Lucius Yap there has had some good wins. And he's still going strong, 9-4 up against Ko Pin Yi at the moment, in fact. All started off against Dezan Sipskovsky of North Macedonia.
Yes, he beat that young lady that was so impressive against Mitch Ellerman on this table. That couldn't have been easy from the same country. There would have been a little added pressure on Wang Ken in that match.
We'll hear a lot more about Siming Chen, won't we?
Sure.
Prolific winner of big women's events, some of which offer really big first prizes. Well, Kang has broken spectacularly well in this match, but Thorpe showing he's no slouch in that department either. A very favourable run on the two. Played in the last two Mosconi Cups. Made his debut in 2017. Teamed up with Skylar Woodward for his opening match, but they lost to David O'Cady and Jason Shaw. Managed to get a win then in partnership with Dennis Hatch over O'Cady and Nick Vandenberg. But then, with no less a partner than Shane Van Boening, a 5-0 defeat to Joshua Filler and Vandenberg. But he did round off his Mosconi Cup debut campaign with a singles win over Vandenberg. Albeit the Americans were heavily beaten 11-4. But then, of course, as we were saying earlier, he got a chance to be part of America's big breakthrough, winning at Alexandra Palace in North London late last year.
Yeah, you alluded to a player that was one of the noticeable absentees here, Nick Vandenberg.
So Billy Thorpe getting right back into it now, and only one behind at 5-4.
And Coe has gone one in front against Tyler Steyer on that outside table.
So all three Americans in action, trailing now. This would have been unthinkable once upon a time, Jim. The idea that you might potentially have one American player in the last 16 of the US Open. We're certainly not going to have many more than that.
No, true enough. The home of 9-ball. Back in the early days when I was commentating the US Open, go back about 17 years, I mean, it was very much dominated by the Americans, even though Ralph Souquet came over and won the first one I did.
It's ironic that we're talking about that possibility just when American pool is on a bit of a high after that Mosconi Cup success. And Thorpe actually had a chance to deliver the winning point at Alexandra Palace, but he lost 5-2 to Eklund Kachi. It's a bit of an up and down few days for Thorpe personally, but it all finished on a massive high for the entire American team. It was Shane Van Boening who eventually did get the clinching point with his win over Alex Kazakis.
Well, that break couldn't really have gone much worse. He's landed nicely on the one and failed to get a ball. On one of the rare occasions, a dry break.
The only thing that's been dry about most of Can's breaks is the desert that he's playing in the middle of.
Nicely played. Ensuring to leave that angle. Back down table for the 4. He's let that cue ball loose a few times, and he's really had the angles down. This young man knows, he knows this game.
Shane Van Boening there looking on. It's a rare sight to not see him practicing.
Yeah, Shane looked like he was having a nap, and the guy beside him might soon be going to bed. Well, he pinched the pocket as much as he could. He almost missed that 4. You saw him look away. He was trying to manufacture an angle that really wasn't there.
Mentioned a number of times the possibility of only one American in the last 16. There may only be one British player. Jason Shaw, the defending champion, the only one through so far. Imran Majid is the only other one left. But he's 3-2 up against Chieh Lu, who's trying to join that growing Chinese Taipei contingent, who are through. 3 of them already into the last 16. So after winning so many racks off his own good break, Can has won this one off Thorpe's bad break. He was left the one. You called it, Jim. You said the break could hardly have turned out worse for Thorpe. And the same goes for the rack itself. Can has won it, and he's past the halfway point now on his way to that target of 11. He leads 6-4. Thorpe's Moscone Cup teammate here, Tyler Steyer. He's in a battle as well.
Is he drawn back to make the 9?
Oh, good shout, Jim. That was exactly what he was trying to do.
It's a big rack, this one, for Tyler. He actually comes up to my club quite a bit. His girlfriend lives about an hour outside of Toronto, so he comes up to Canada and spends time with his girlfriend and pops into the club, practices, gives a few lessons. A very nice young man. Well, the break didn't work for Wang Can that time. Even though he did get the one into the side, he's got no clear path to the 2. Just looking for an area on the table that he can push the cue ball to.
Dennis Hatch pulling back a bit. He now trails 6-3 against Jeffrey Ignacio. Remember, these are all the matches in the losers qualification round. All these players have already lost one match, but through various routes, they've found their way to this stage now, where they're one win away from a place in the single elimination stage. And really, once you're there, it doesn't particularly matter which side you've got there on.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Billy take this shot. Just try and bank that 2-ball right up the middle line. I mean, the cue ball is going to track towards the 5, but you'd have to think he'd snooker him. So I want to see what Wang Can had in mind here. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Bank the 2 very close to the middle diamond, the bottom of the table, and back up the middle of this 9-foot surface. You really should snooker Billy, but let's see if he's got something else in mind. Well, he's using the full extent of the shot clock, the first 40 seconds, and then called for the extension to second 40 seconds. Yeah, that's what I thought he'd do. Well, he might have left a gap and left a chance at the 2. Well, there's no way you could legislate for that.
Forehand.
And that will cost him the rack.
Yeah, and 7-4 is the start of score, the sort of score where if you're up by that amount, you're starting to see the winning line come into view.
Well, you certainly have a cushion, and you can fade a little bit of bad running.
Aloysius Yap is on the hill. Player from Singapore. He's had some good wins here, and he leads Ko Pin Yi 10-6. Maybe Jason Shaw won't be the only British player in the last 16, because Imran Majid is now 5-2 up on Cheng Che Liu.
How nicely did he judge the speed on that shot?
He's not a slow player by any means, but he doesn't rush, does he, Jim? He takes his time, he makes sure he's comfortable with what he's going to do.
Yeah, very measured, very calculating. You don't expect to see any unforced errors. We saw that one shot a couple racks ago that kind of threw his cue at a very thin cut. Apart from that, it's been rock solid.
I was fearing for him there, Jim. It would just be so typical after we were saying he doesn't make many unexpected mistakes for him to go and miss an easy one. But it didn't happen, and Wang Can is 3 clear now. Once again at 7-4.
Not really into the comfort zone just yet, but he's knocking on the door. The last thing that Billy Thorpe wants to see now is one of this young man's tailor-made breaks where everything just sits up and perches nicely on the 4.5 by 9 foot surface.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's 7-4 now, but the way Can has broken at times in this match, Thorpe knows it could be something like 9-4 before he even gets to hit a ball again. Tyler Steyer in real danger of going out here. American Moscone Cup player, 7-5 down to Ko-Ping Chung. Who's got a couple off the break there, but doesn't look to have any shape on the 2.
You can see how well a lot of these players time the break. I mean, they're not big in stature, but they use their legs and they really time the ball nicely.
Yeah, you look at players at a very sort of low level, kind of guys who play in a pub or a club or whatever, and they're playing the break-off shot. They think it's all about hitting it as hard as you possibly can, but that's the last thing you should be doing.
No, doesn't look like there's going to be a break and run out here. Very nicely played.
Extension called.
So trying to jump over the 7.
Now, how's his look? Pretty good. Jeffrey Ignacio closing in on a place in the single elimination stage. 9-4 now. He leads Dennis Hatch. He's just won the 13th rack.
Extension called.
Well, this might be set, and that's why Billy Thorpe is going up table, because he can hit this one. He's looking to make the 9 right here.
Yeah, good spot.
And he has.
Oh, that's going to make him feel good. It looked as though Khan had the bit of luck, but Thorpe picks that out. Length of the table, bank shot, combination, and the 9 is in.
Quick path to the victory there. 7-5. Now it falls on him to produce a couple breaks.
Yeah, he's had mixed results with the break, I think you could say. So maybe he's due a couple of good ones. As we return to a regular visitor to your club, Jim.
It'd be a big opportunity for young Tyler if he can get through to the elimination stages. Well, definitely should get back to 7-6 here.
This would be a very good time to produce a good break-off.
Well, you asked for it. Get a wide open look at the 3. Or sorry, at the 1. The 3, the next ball on, he's going to have to try and draw back. Yeah, it wasn't easy. Position to the 3, it didn't go anywhere, so he had to try and get close to it. I don't think he's left a clear path to this 3. He had an anxious look. Well, I wonder. He's looking down the line, the intended line. He wants that 3 to take.
Extension called.
Possibly he can see this.
Oh, it looks more promising from that angle. Well, there was room to get through. But still didn't make the pot, and how fortunate has he been there? Although, there is a chance at the long bank shot here.
Yeah, he'll look up table. The only danger is getting the 3. He needs position to the 4 next. And I don't know that he can manufacture that.
Yeah, could certainly have left something much easier.
Well, he tried.
Oh, it was a valiant effort.
He tried to get that 4 into the open and making that 3. Worth another look.
I think we'd be calling that the shot of the match if it had come off for him. Oh, but that's not far behind.
Well, that happened a little too quick for me.
So he's flicked the 5 in, off the 4. Perfectly on a simple 4, but looking after that one a bit anxiously, but I think he's fine. And we have ourselves a real close contest now.
Yeah, this match all of a sudden has got a pulse again.
It was 5-2 to Wang Can. He was pulled back to 5-4. He restored his 3-rack advantage at 7-4. But you just sense Billy Thorpe is starting to build a bit of momentum now. He looks like he fancies the job. And once again, he's pulled back to only 1 behind. Wang Can leads 7-6. Ko Pin-Yi hanging on as well. Back to 10-7 down against Lucius Yap as we return to Tyler Steyer and Ko Ping Chung. Dennis Hatch battling to stay in the US Open. He's just got one back against Jeffrey Ignacio, but he's still got a lot more work to do because he trails 9-5. All the Americans, all three of them involved in this round, fighting a rearguard action at the moment, including this young man.
Well, had a lot of side spin on it still, that cue ball, so it was never going to land on the 3. But a good chance to play a containing shot here for Tyler. He'd love to get it right there.
He'll settle for that.
Yeah, just looking at Wang Can sitting in his chair, legs crossed, just looks far too comfortable, doesn't he? I think he feels like he's let go of the handles on this match, because he definitely had them. And all of a sudden the pool guards are starting to smile a little bit on Billy Thorpe.
He's missed that one though, but as you say, he's had the fortune.
Extension called.
Possibly just a chance. Might be enough there. I think Billy likes it.
He plays a lot of tournaments, Billy Thorpe, and he actually wins quite a few of them. He won 3 events of various kinds in 2017. He won 3 more in 2018, in addition to the Mosconi Cup success.
Didn't judge the contact to the 4 as well as he would have liked, because he didn't want it sitting in behind that 5. Position from 3 to 4 now. Murderous. I'll tell you one thing, he couldn't have placed that cue ball a lot better. He's going to be able to weld that white in behind the 5.
Yeah, couldn't have got any tighter to that 5. So keeping the pressure on Can. He was 7-4 down. He's got back to only 1 behind. He's put Can in a tough spot here.
Nope. Shot. Well,
he's made the contact, but he's scratched at the same time. And I think this match could very well be level in a few moments.
Well, given what we've seen now, Michael, at 7-7, who's your money on?
Well, it's got to be on the guy with the momentum. I know it's easy to say, but it is true. And of course, he's got the more experience as well. McCann doesn't look rattled in any way. He's got fantastic composure. Thorpe found himself towards the business end on the loser's side at the last US Open. He was eventually well beaten, though, 11-3 by Chang Yun-Lin.
Nicely judged. Well, if he's got a little angle, he'd like to get that cue ball away from that side cushion. That's why he's looking at this 6 into the side. Trickier shot, though. This can go wrong.
It hasn't, though. So it looks as though Billy Thorpe is going to draw level for the first time since it was 2-all. Thorpe wins 3 in a row for the first time in the match. It's anyone's now. They both need 4. It's 7-all.
Yeah.
British hopes with Imran Majid. Kind of flying under the radar in this event, isn't he? A very capable player.
Yeah, we've had British winners before. Jason Shaw last time out, and Darren Appleton, of course, was a back-to-back winner in 2010 and 11. Well, Lucius Yap is the next name we can add to the single elimination stage. He's beaten Ko Pin-Yi 11-7. And Jeffrey Ignacio as well, he's just gone through. An 11-5 winner over Dennis Hatch. So there's another American gone. And so we have just 4 places left to fill now. One of them will come from this match. Mieszko Fortunski, 6-5 up against Wu Jiaquing. And the other 2 matches are both 7-all. Tyler Steyer against Ko Ping Chung. And of course the match we've been majoring on, Wang Can against Billy Thorpe. Fortunski has just gone 7-5 now against Wu Jiaquing.
Yeah, I think Wang Can has taken a timeout. He's seen that 3-rack lead evaporate and decided to go compose himself.
Nine different nationalities are already through to the single elimination stage. You surprised that Billy Thorpe hasn't gone out as well?
Well, I mentioned that earlier. Many times when one player leaves the arena, the second one will head out as well, just try and relax and, you know, take a break. You don't need to sit there and dwell on anything. And Wang Can.
Water? Okay. Yep. Ready? Whenever you're ready, mate.
Re-enters. And that allows Billy Thorpe to come out of his chair.
So it's effectively like starting again now in a race to 4. And that's fallen very nicely. Things just starting to go his way now.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me like the sort of player that's going to be tentative when the finish line appears, too. Possibility of a 4-7 combination. Now every possibility of a 4-7 combination. Just slightly overcut that 4 ball.
Oh, well, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, he's starting to get the run of the ball, too. A horrific miss.
It just shows you, though, even for players this good, when the pressure is really ramped up, you really can miss almost anything.
Yeah, I think you'll see Wang Can take an extension here.
Well, it's a key juncture of the match now. If Can could win this, when Thorpe had such a good chance, be a real blow to strike. Oh, that's excellent. What a shot to pull out at a time like this.
Fully deserved it, too. I mean, the shot that Billy Thorpe missed. I think he had to expect to be spending some time in his chair. First chance fell to him. The Wang Can intends to laugh last.
Well, this is going to hurt, isn't it? And even in a relatively long match, it's remarkable how often you look back on one rack, one moment even, and say it all hinged on that. And this looks like the rack, and in particular, that really unexpected miss from Thorpe that we may well be reflecting on when this match is at its end. So Wang Can was 7-4 in front. He got pegged back to 7-all. Looked for all the world like he might be going behind for what would have been the first time in the match. But he's pulled it out. He's back in front at 8-7.
Yeah, terrific jump shot.
Okay, thank you.
Forge in the opening. And we get back to Imran Majid.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Liu. Well, Majid might get pegged back here because everything is there now for Cheng-Chu Liu.
Ko-Ping Chung 8-7 up against Tyler Steyer. He's taking a lot of time to play that one. So we'll return to the main table.
He'd love to have rediscovered that touch that he had early in the match. Was breaking beautifully.
Yeah, he got a couple down there, but not finished where he wanted to on the 2. That's Emily Fraser, who's come up with all sorts of ideas for revamping this event in its first year under Matchroom control. What an amazing job Matchroom have done getting us through almost 500 matches in the space of just 3 days.
I think I saw them all.
It's felt like it, hasn't it?
Push out cold.
Oh, we've seen so many different types of matches. One-sided ones, great displays. Jason Shaw was magnificent last night. We've seen some great recoveries. Real drama. A couple of hill matches on the main table. You think of James Aranis earlier against Torsten Homan. What a match that was. Earl Strickland the other night against Dennis Hatch. And these are meant to be the preliminaries.
Needs that to slow down, and it did.
You just feel an added bit of tension now, can't you, in the last few minutes, Jim? They both know it's a big chance for both of them. They both know whoever loses might just have 1 or 2 regrets about it. And I don't know about you, but I can definitely feel much more of a sense of tension off both of them.
Yeah, I know that Wang Can has slowed down. He's doing nothing quickly anymore. Well, if he can see that 3, that's a useful fluke.
Yeah, it's really tight, though.
He's got the jump cue out, Michael, so he's got to go over the edge of this 5 ball.
Oh, good effort, but where's it going? He's fluked this one as well. I think he probably deserves that, you know, because it was a difficult shot and he was so close to getting it right. But what's he got here on the 4? Are we looking at a bank shot into the corner? That's what he's gone for. He's got it, and he's nice on the 5 now as well. It will be a big rack to win, but really at this stage, in such a close match and so close to the finish of it, they're all big, they're all massive. And a 2-rack lead at this late stage will be very useful indeed.
We're going to have to hit this one with a bit of speed. Get back up for the 8.
Yeah, I think this is Thorpe's last big hope in this rack. Now, that's not turned out too bad, but it definitely looked to me like there was a lot of tension in his cueing arm on that one.
Well, he's put pay to those two flukes. And now just 2 away from placing the last 16.
Yeah, he's shown good character there. He had Billy Thorpe charging back at him, came back to 7-all. But he's reasserted himself now in this match. Let's have a look at what's happening elsewhere now. Mieszko Fortunski, who gave Shane Van Boening a real run for his money earlier in the tournament. 8-6 up against Wu Jiaquing. Tyler Steyer still behind against Ko-Ping Chung at 8-7. Imran Majid leading Chieh Lu 7-5. And that's not a young man looks to be under any great stress, Jim, is it? Chatting away to people there, smiling. Even with so much at stake. Remember, winners in this round guaranteed at least $3,500, and you can pretty much double your money with every round after that. A rare sight indeed. Comes up dry, and more importantly, he's left Thorpe a shape on the one.
Yeah, Billy is going to play this with a lot of topspin. Try and get that cue ball tracking down towards the 2. And he's going to hope to try and land on it.
Oh, but that could really be a big moment in this match.
I'll tell you what, he'd like to take a buzzsaw to that pocket. That pocket has jumped up and grabbed that cue ball when Billy Thorpe has been there now on a couple of occasions, and both of them have offered ball in hand when really the layout looked super tough, but with ball in hand it opens it right up.
We saw Billy Thorpe there sitting in his chair throwing his hands up. Sometimes it's all you can do in this game when it throws misfortune like that in your direction.
Attention called.
But you'll see once this 2 is taken off the table, everything opens up. Very interesting how he played that.
The path to the hill is opening up for Wang Can. Billy Thorpe quite likely now to have to do something he's not done at any stage of the match and win 4 in a row.
All brought about by virtue of that foul shot. Stroke of misfortune, the cue of Billy Thorpe.
He was 3 ahead at 5-2. He was 3 ahead again at 7-4. Both times Thorpe responded well, came right back at him. And he's going to have to do it. Big style this time, because Thorpe is again 3 behind. Wang Can on the hill at 10-7.
And Majid breaking 8-5 in front. So looking good as well.
Ko-Ping Chung now 9-7 up on Tyler Steyer. Mieszko Fortunski just ahead, just keeping his nose in front against Wu Jiaquing at 8-7.
You know, I was watching Imran queuing, and that's the longest I've seen him queue up to the white. And I mean, obviously he was between minds there on exactly what he wanted to do, and in the end, jumped right over the white ball.
Yeah, an absolute horror show, that one.
The fountains at the Bellagio. The water dancing. It's quite a spectacle if you haven't seen it, Michael. Again, one of the distractions that all of these pool players here in Vegas have to try and avoid.
Well, they're distracting me at the moment from actually seeing any of that, but later in the week, hopefully a chance to get out and have more of a proper look. So 1 in the side, and he's got a shape on the 2.
Oh, he's got a gilt-edged opportunity here.
And Billy Thorpe might be mentally packing his suitcases now.
I mean, everything's there. The only thing standing in his way right now is his own nerve.
Yeah, and that's held up pretty well so far as he's advanced towards the hill. There's already one Chinese player through to the single elimination stage, Lu Haitao, who won what seems a long time ago now against Mario Teucher, 11-2. The most one-sided match of this round. Wu Jiaquing could still make it. Only one behind at 8-7 against Fortunski. And if he could close it out, how impressive would that be to produce the longest streak of racks of the whole match, just when it matters most?
Extension call.
He was under pressure when he was dragged back to 7 each.
Yeah, a little show of nerves there. Didn't quite cue that one as he wanted. But he can still cut this in. Bring that cue ball down the right-hand side. Pace is important here. And he doesn't want to foul cueing over all these balls either.
I think that cheer that you heard was coming from table 19, where Ko-Ping Chung has ended the hopes of Tyler Steyer. He's won the 18th rack, and that was pretty close for a lot of the way. But Ko-Ping Chung has finished strongly and has won by 11 racks to 7.
Tough ask here to get from the 5 to the 6.
That defeat for Steyer means that in a few moments' time, Shane Van Boening may very well be the only American player left in the US Open.
Shot of the match for him to this point. No applause at all, but that was a big shot, this one. And that might be the toughest one he'll face. Yeah, you get a feel for Billy Thorpe now. Couple bad scratches into that center pocket. And that proved to be his undoing.
So Wang can start planning for the single elimination stage. He's pulled away from 7-all with 4 in a row to beat Billy Thorpe 11-7 and leave Shane Van Boening as the only home player left in the US Open. So let's get out to table 22. Imran Majid against Chieh Lu.
Yeah, Majid, after that miscue, brought back to 8-7 now.
And this one of only 2 matches left out there. It's 8-all now between Fortunski and Wu Jiaquing. Imran Majid, a Londoner, 46 years of age.
Well, got a ball off the break, but just kicking at this one. Unless you can see the edge of it.
Incidentally, if you're wondering who's going to be playing who in the last 16, starting tomorrow, the draw will be made almost immediately after the last match is completed.
It was a pretty weak safety effort from Liu there. And that touch gives a chance to Majid.
Mieszko Fortunski of Poland has just won a vital 17th rack to lead Wu Jiaquing 9-8.
Well, this should take Imran to a 9-7 advantage.
It's a bit surprising not to see more English players involved at this stage, because I know 8-ball is the big pool game in England, but still quite a tradition in 9-ball as well, just not seemingly producing the players. And a lot of the English players who are competitive at this level are guys who've been around for quite a while. So 9-7 to Majid. Just 2 away now. And Mieszko Fortunski is 1 away. He's on the hill. He's just added the 18th rack, so he leads Wu Jiaquing 10-8. And it looks, Jim, as though this match we're looking at now could very well be the match that offers the final place in the single elimination stage.
Well, Imran in the driver's seat, breaking 1 away from the hill, so he's got to feel like this is his match to win or lose. Well, it's a successful break, and it looks like he's got a shot at the 1.
Yeah, 2 balls down. And as you say, definite shot at the 1 here. Feels like we're coming to the end of a marathon, doesn't it? Just these last couple of tables still in play after the non-stop action we've had since Sunday morning.
And doesn't look like there are any obstacles here for Imran. No reason why he shouldn't be able to dish up and move to a 10-7 lead.
Represented England in the World Cup of Pool a number of times.
He's also been a Moscone Cup team member before as well, I believe, Michael. He's been one of the better players in England for a number of years. He's taken the odd hiatus away from the game, but very highly regarded.
Yeah, his best era was about a decade ago. He was winning a few tournaments.
Plays in the Great Britain 9-ball tour as well. And he's won a few European tour events.
Around about the late 2000s, he was playing very actively on the Euro Tour. His best year was actually 10 years ago this year. He won over $30,000. Was 9th in this event. Runner-up in the German Open that year.
So this 9 to get to the hill.
Yeah, that shot required just a bit of attention. And so Imran Majid has a 10-7 lead, so he's on the hill. Mieszko Fortunski is still there. Wu Jiaquing has just won the 19th rack there to close to 10-9 down. 14 players already through to the single elimination one table stage. Jason Shaw, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, Jeffrey DeLuna, Alex Pagulayan, Su Kai Lun, Chang Yulong, Su Joyan, Shane Van Boening, the 5-time champion. They all came through on the winner's side. Already through on the loser's side, Joshua Filler, the world champion. Aloysius Yap, Lu Hai Tao, Ko Ping Chung, Wang Kan, who we've been focusing on this evening, and Jeffrey Ignacio. So we have 14 of the names.
And not really that late in Las Vegas here, just, you know, 20 to 9, and I don't see anybody practicing. Strange. Just tells you that it's been 3 long days of pool and everybody wants to get some rest.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of people have traveled from a long way away, so maybe jet lag issues that they're trying to get rid of. Imran Majid has certainly traveled some distance, and he's got a 1 off the break there. Now, has he got anything on the 2? It doesn't look like it from that angle. When we move from this environment to the single TV table, Jim, how much of a factor is it going to be, the experience consideration, when you've got players who are used to that and some who won't actually be all that accustomed to it?
No, that's a very good point, and that's where experience will be much more of a factor than with all this multi-table play. Like even when players were brought onto this main arena here, you know, they still knew there was play all around them, and they weren't the only match going on. Well, there'll only be one match going on from tomorrow. So the scene changes, the perspective from the players changes, and there's a bigger crowd.
Yeah, and that crowd won't be dispersed among a number of tables. So it'll be interesting to see how different players react to it. Some, of course, will be well accustomed to it, particularly those who are well versed in Moscone Cup play.
Well, has he been lucky Well, not really. He let fly at a long 2, and Imran does have a look at this. Far from easy, but an outside chance. Looking to see if it banks. Well, mildly surprised that he didn't take that on.
Would he have taken it on in different circumstances, Jim, if it wasn't so close to the end of the match?
Well, I just felt like, firstly, I thought it was cuttable down the cushion. I've seen steeper angles attempted and made. And Imran's a very good shot maker, but he could have played that bank as a shot to nothing too. But maybe he knew what he was doing. And if he can get through to this too, he's bought himself a much better opportunity.
Well, the body language from his opponent suggests he can. A look of resignation as Chieh Lu walked disconsolately away from the table. As he just walked away from it for the last time. Right next door to this, on table 23, it's gone hill-hill. Wu Jiaquing has continued his late fight back and levelled at 10-all with Mieszko Fortunski.
Well, Imran, the right side of the table now. The key shot is going to be from the 4 to the 5. So if he can get from this pink 4 and nicely to the 5, and that's great position. Beautifully judged the speed there.
And you got a very brief look there at the players who are through. That's not the draw as such, that's just who's through to the single elimination stage. The draw will be known very soon, almost immediately in fact, after the last ball goes down on the last match.
Now just keep that back arm steady. They're there for the taking. And a place in the elimination stages is calling you, Imran.
Yeah, he's just got to focus on the process here. So much easier said than done, of course. But just keep playing the shots. He's well used to them all. Forget about what it's all about.
Well, just a little harder. He'd like to have been dead straight on the 7. Then it would have been a stop shot for the 8. And I don't think he is.
There's only ever been one English winner of the US Open, Darren Appleton. Back-to-back almost a decade ago now. Imran Majid wouldn't have been considered one of the favourites to win this title. But he's only 4 matches away from doing so now. Well, I'm delighted for him. He's through. 11-7 against Chieh Liu.
You gotta love this, don't you? There's still more action to come. And Hill this match was?
Yep, Mieszko Fortunski against Wu Jiaquing. I don't have an exact figure of the number of racks we've seen, but it's thousands and thousands. But this is the very last rack now of this multi-table double elimination stage.
And that one ball, I think it may be the 4, I'm not sure, has been bumped down near where Wu is cueing. So, doesn't look like a clear path for a run out in this.
4 players from Chinese Taipei are through to the last 16. If Wu Jiaquing wins this, we'll have 3 from China, so they'll be only just behind. Seems a lifetime ago, Jim, that we were watching Jason Shaw taking to the table to start the defence of his title at 9 o'clock on Easter Sunday morning. And here we are now at the other end of this extraordinary 33-table extravaganza.
I mean, when you reflect back, the amount of players, the amount of matches, it's actually happened very quickly, hasn't it?
In one sense, yeah. It just feels like we've seen an awful lot of action when you think back through the matches and the number of stories there have been and the dramas and the fight backs. I know what you mean. In time, it doesn't seem that long ago, but just so much has happened since then. A lot of players' careers have taken a big step forward. Others have maybe taken another step on the road to decline.
Well, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to make the 9. 2, looks like a 2-5-9.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's got in mind, Jim. What a way this would be to claim his place in the single elimination stage. And he's pulled it off. Wow, what a way that was to finish. And so, Wu Jiaquing is through. Mieszko Fortunski was on the hill first. He looked to be closing in on winning this. But what a finish from Wu Jiaquing. And so, he is one of 3 Chinese players in the single elimination stage. And we'll be right back to reflect on it all after a short break.
We've had 3 days of the US Open 9-ball championship at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, and it has certainly not disappointed. We've had 488 matches so far, and we are down to the last 16 players. I'm going to tell you the draw for the last 16 right now, okay? We start tomorrow with Jason Shaw, the champion, against Joshua Filler. That's a huge match to start. Then Francisco Sanchez Ruiz against Ko Ping Chung. Jeffrey De Luna against Imran Majid, the only Englishman left in the competition. Alex Pagulayan against Aloysius Yap. Su Kai Lun against Lui Hai Tao. Chang Yulong against Jeffrey Ignacio. Su Jui An against Wang Kan, and then Shane Van Boening, who's been in magnificent form, and he's already won this tournament 5 times. Can he win it 6 times? His last 16 matches against Wu Jiaquing, that's another big one as well. So we've had 488 matches so far. We are now down to the final 16 players, and the drama will get higher and higher tomorrow as we have the last 16 and the final 3 days of this US Open. So much to play for. See you tomorrow.